Hi there, Flourish Writers. Mindy Kiker here, together with Jennifer Kokert. Welcome to August. August already. And our next installment of Strategies to Sustain Your Writing Life. We share these monthly teachings with you, addressing the common pitfalls and miry bogs that await the writing life to help you be able to keep going on the journey of sharing the message on your heart. This month, we are going to talk about giving yourself the gift of time. From a student in our private community space in the academy, she says, "I'm not going to lie. I've not had time to do anything yet. The plan we discussed just didn't go to plan. The week leading up to our holiday was insane. Then jet lag, it was a 12-hour flight and a 7-hour time difference. We weren't in our right mind for a week." Can you relate? I've been there. When we got home, we celebrated my 50th birthday for several days. My plan is to write something today and tomorrow and get it to you before Friday. You see, life happens. The writing life means that it's got to be part of your real life. And that's complex, isn't it? There's a lot going on. And the world doesn't stop to give you time to write. The world keeps spinning, and you find time to write. So we're going to be chatting today about not being in a rush, but just continuing to show up consistently. It's the journey of the tortoise, not the hare. We make plans. In the academy, we have our Writer's Life Planning Guide. We do a lot of training on systems and processes for planning, but we never know what surprise is going to await us. In a day, we get new information. We made our plan and then we discover something. We're like, oh boy, that's not going to work out quite like we thought. And then we have unexpected outcomes like, I worked so hard on my website and it's still not ready to launch. Or when I did, there was a glitch and something didn't work like I thought. Tasks take longer than expected. And that's a real natural part of any complex project, any big project, and writing projects are complex. There are steps that, especially when you're doing it for the first time, you just don't know how long something's going to take. Something that you planned, I'll have that done by, I'll do it this weekend. And then the weekend happens. And then Monday, and still nothing. So there's a difference between never getting to it because you're not planning and you're not carving out that time and guarding it. There is that guarding aspect. But also just when you're doing something for the first time, it's hard to predict. You don't know exactly what to expect. So that's why in the academy, we're very flexible. We're good at pivoting, but we keep showing up. Other responsibilities intrude. I mean, you're a person in a web of relationships, and sometimes something happens that I need you urgently today. When we have unmet expectations, it can really just make us want to give up because I keep trying to do this and it keeps not happening. Okay, then we have a choice. We can give ourselves the gift of time and say, okay, I'm not in a race. I'm just going to keep showing up. I mean, eventually, if I don't give up, if I keep trying, something's going to happen. Something is bound to happen. Then you have surprises and you get kind of knocked off the horse, out of the saddle. And when we fail, when we try, we really try hard. Okay, this is the week I'm going to, get that first draft out, or this is the week I'm going to contact my editor and we're going to have a chat about, how the edits are going. And then it doesn't happen. Then you just want to give up. You say, oh, forget it. For goodness sakes, what am I doing? What am I'm pretending at this writing life. But remember in Ecclesiastes that we are reminded that for everything, there's a season, a time for every activity under heaven. So, what season are you in? Do you have unrealistic expectations about how much writing you're going to be able to do? Or are you just failing to guard it? Have you not yet admitted, I'm a writer and I'm doing this? Hey, family, I want to carve out 10 hours out of my week to dedicate to this. Would you support me for the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months, whatever? And I just want to try this. I want to see. I need your support. You create the time by committing to the activity. You create the time by committing to the activity, and it's in line with the season that you're in. Ernest Hemingway said, I love to write very much and was never happier than doing it. Days of 1200 or 2700 were something that made you happier than you could believe. That's a word count, by the way. Since I found that 400 to 600 well done was a pace I could hold much better, I was always happy with that number. But if I only had 320, I felt good. Listen, if Hemingway can give himself that grace, give himself the gift of time, give himself the gift of a pace that is sustainable, a pace that allows you to do the work that you love in a way that respects your humanity and your complex life, give yourself that gift. Hemingway did. We sometimes think, when I become a real writer, I'll be able to get my thoughts out quickly onto paper. But this is a fantasy. I'm not going to lie. Why are you in a rush? Every memoir on writing I read, a common theme that I encounter is the more I write and especially the more famous I become, the more I have readers like loving my work, it puts this weird pressure on. So enjoy the days when it's you and the keyboard or the pen, and it's a peaceable endeavor. Seek peace and pursue it. William Zinsser on Writing Well says, rewriting is the essence of writing well. It's where the game is won or lost. The writing life is about taking the time that's needed to write and rewrite. This is not something that you can just push through like a factory. You know, Ford made this this discovery that I could break down each part into small tasks and have different people work on it. And it's a production line. But the writing life is not a production line. Zinsser goes on, that idea is hard to accept. We all have an emotional equity in our first draft. We can't believe that it wasn't born perfect. I remember as a beginning writer, by the time I got it out, I was so exhausted. That first draft nearly did me in. The thought of coming back to it and continuing to work on it, I was like, no, thank you. Oh my gosh, I just want to be done. That was so exhausting. Most writers don't initially say what they want to say or say it as well as they could. Darn it. Roald Dahl puts it this way, good writing is essentially rewriting of this, I am certain. So if we're not giving ourselves the gift of time, we're going to be constantly frustrated because writing takes time. This is one of my favorite examples of giving yourself time. First of all, I'm completely besotted with E.B. White, and Charlotte's Web is one of my favorite stories in the whole wide world. So E.B. White had written this tale that came from his heart. It captured his affection and passion for his farm life. He was a New York writer and escaped to his farm to reconnect with nature and with his own heart. And he just loved it. So he wrote this story about the farm And then he came back to the beginning because you get that first draft out, but then often the hook, that lead at the beginning needs to be constructed. Once you really know what the story is about, you kind of come back to the beginning and you say, what is it about? So now he's invested all this time in the writing and he's coming back to, how do I invite readers into this dear story that I love so much, but it has to be just right. This tale of E.B. White wrestling with the opening of Charlotte's Web was presented in Some Writer, the Story of E.B. White by Melissa Sweet. It's a very dear illustrated biography gifted to me by Jennifer Kokert, and I love it. So this was his first draft. Charlotte was a gray spider who lived in the doorway of a barn. So he didn't like that. So then he tries. I shall speak first of Wilbur. He doesn't love that. So now, okay, golly, how do I launch into this thing that is so precious to me? So a year passes, folks, a year. And he tries again. This is E.B. White. He's a professional writer, okay? He's got a long history of journalism. He knows how to write, okay? At midnight, John Arable pulled his boots on, lit a lantern, and walked out to the hog house. So then he's like, I've got to start with the action. So then he tries, where's Papa going with that hand axe? Ooh, dialogue. Dialogue's often a nice way to open a story. And then, you see that word hand was extra. Ta-da! The famous opening. Where's Papa going with that axe? Oh, perfection. But see, that took quite over a year. He gave himself the gift of time. We must be able to do that too. The famous line that we all love from Charlotte's Web. So what I also love about this story is that E.B. White did not settle for quick. He did not settle for inferior. He waited until he knew how this precious beloved story was supposed to open. You see that? That is someone committed to the craft. That is someone committed to doing justice to the story that has been given to him. We talk about baby steps. This is a writer, student in the Academy. Since joining the Academy, I felt God encouraging me to start submitting my writing to different publications for consideration for publishing. I felt like He just wanted me to be vulnerable enough to put my writing out there and also be willing to experience rejection and critique. I started doing that, and I just found out this morning that 3 of my devotions have been accepted for a devotion book coming out later this year. I was crying tears of joy and praise to God. I'm so thankful for the wisdom, guidance, and encouragement of the Flourish Writers community. You see, this is a writer who is taking it one step at a time. She has a book on her heart, but she's starting small. This has given me new boldness and confidence in pressing on to complete and publish my book. You see, these are the baby steps. This is giving yourself the gift of time and the gift of starting small. So I pray that you can look at your writing life, what you've done and not done, and just take a deep breath, exhale peace, and just start where you are today. But start with something small today. We bless you as you continue to show up, to find the way through, to bring out the message on your heart, the message that was placed there by God that you believe will be a gift to others. And we pray that He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion. Keep well, and here's to flourishing in your writing life, one story at a time. Bye for now.